Hello, thank you for watching. I want to talk about smart guns for a minute here. Just in case you don't know what that means, smart guns is the name usually given to a computer-controlled gun that can't be fired unless something else is in proximity to the gun. Oh, there's different models and theories about it. Some of them would have a trigger that reads your fingerprint. But smart guns are a bad idea. They should not be forced on people. When they become reliable, then people might want one. But here's one reason why smart guns are a bad idea. It's computer technology. Have you ever had a computer crash? Get slow on you? Just freeze up? Stop working? To illustrate my point, I've got 3 electronic devices here. I'm going to turn them on. Imagine these are the smartphone that's going to save your life when somebody's breaking into your house, and the police are humans who can only go as fast as a human can go and do not get supernatural powers when they graduate the police academy. Among the supernatural powers police do not have is knowing when and where they're needed. They do the best they can. They're great. I thank all you police officers who took that job. That is a middle-class job. You don't take the job of police officer so that you can become a billionaire. You find other work if your most important goal in life is becoming a billionaire. So let's start turning this on, and imagine somebody is breaking in to the house, and this is going to control the gun that's going to save my life. Yeah, other downsides to the smart guns is not only would you worry about the gun turning on and off, but what if you lose the thing like the watch? That this one came up that quickly. But still, what if you're in a scenario where you are working late at night, going to school at night, and you're walking through a parking garage, and you're not rich enough to hire your own security, you're not at a place that has a security guard walk around the parking garage with you to keep you safe, and you needed to wait that long for the gun to get ready to work when there's a rapist already on top of you. Bad idea. Alright. Let's see. I broke my train of thought by having that come up. Let's see. So, smart guns. Oh, but the wrist device. What if it loses battery power? What if the gun loses battery power? Your self-defense, your ability to make a attempted murderer regret it, should not be dependent on a battery being fully charged or not losing power. Let's see about this phone. How much time would we have if this was the one controlling the gun? And the device could be taken off of you. And there are some scenarios where you might make space in between the gun and something on your wrist. How close would it have to be? If you're pushing with one hand against an attacker and your gun's in the other hand, then the gun might not work depending on how close things have to be. And your life should not depend on criminals cooperating with you and striking poses so it's easy for you to shoot them. They don't do that. Yeah, it's starting to come up, but there's still something twirling here. Still something twirling. That rapist has got me. That armed mugger, he's got me. Okay, now it's finally ready. Now it's ready to... Let's see. Alright, yeah. There we go. Alright. Now this one. you better have a really slow criminal attacking you if this thing is what's going to save your life. Now, some people's arguments for smart guns is, but then the criminal won't be able to use the gun. You'll make them... Right now, if you don't have a plan with a cell phone company, you're going to pay hundreds, several $100s for a smartphone. I've heard of them going for over $1,000, the latest and best phones going for over $1,000. You're making self-defense something that a less wealthy person, a poor person, would not be able to afford if you force all guns to be expensive. And that's been tried in the past. It was done in the past in the 1800s in America after slavery was banned. These laws banned cheap guns, and it wasn't written in the law, but if you study history, it's obvious. They were trying to keep the freed slaves, the Democrats were trying to keep the freed slaves, who they thought should not have been freed from slavery, from having their rights by pricing their right to self-defense out of reach by banning less expensive guns. It's still not starting up yet. Yeah, but the latest I've heard about the smart gun technology and where it's at, I read this stuff. I'm a moderate level on this. I'm not a novice. The smart gun prototypes they have now that do somewhat function only shoot very weak ammunition, not good self-defense ammunition. Because one thing that needs to be, well, the electronics, if there is a electronically controlled gun, need to be able to handle the shaking from the recoil of a gun. And the blast, and the best ones they've got now just shoot .22 long rifle. And miscall, dismiss the miscall that I made to myself. Oh, we got a slow criminal trying to break in. If this is the one controlling the smart gun that's going to save your life. Some of the politicians who want smart guns, they've got Secret Service and state police protection. They've got armed bodyguards. And I'm sure they aren't going to force their armed bodyguards to have smart guns. If any of them did, I would actually be surprised, and I would have to give them a thumbs up for not being a hypocrite. But any politician who's surrounded by armed guards, who's trying to keep poor, law-abiding people from being able to shoot back, is a hypocrite. And this thing's still starting up. Yeah, so anyway, criminals. If a smart gun law was passed and all handguns were required to be computer controlled, what would criminals do? We can know what they would do because there are already criminals possessing guns illegally all over the world. In America, we don't have anarchy and chaos. There are laws banning criminals, those convicted of domestic abuse, drug addicts, from owning, possessing, touching guns. But they still do it. So if you make a smart gun law, the criminals have already proven they will disobey it. In places where the gun laws are even stricter than in New Jersey, criminal gangs, they make guns. The genie's out of the bottle, the cat's out of the bag. The knowledge and the concept and the idea of guns is in this world. There's no way to undo that. The criminals will use those ideas and arm themselves. And if the criminals don't arm themselves, they will have the upper hand when they come attack people who can't buy a gun or whose guns are malfunctioning, because they'll have the element of surprise. They'll load up on some kind of painkillers so that they win the fight. They will probably work in groups. Criminals have done that in the past, working in groups to increase their odds of success. And there's no way somebody is going to outfight a group of people. I mean, you could find some rare examples, but group builds up to a certain size, and somebody's going to get an arm, somebody's going to get an arm, somebody's going to get another body part, and one person throwing off 10 people is pure fiction. Only happens in the movies. And this is still not started up yet. I'm going to do some research for another video I do when I get this thing started up. So, other thoughts about the smart guns? Well, we're still waiting for this thing to sign up. I would have been dead already if this was controlling my smart gun and somebody was breaking into my house. I would have been dead. I would have been dead several times over if I was at a convenience store when an armed robber came in and this is what was supposed to start up to save my life. One idea is to have a fingerprint scanner built into the gun and it reads your fingerprint. Fingerprint scanners are finicky. If your finger's too dry or too wet, mechanical fingerprint scanners. If your finger's too dry or too wet, it won't work right. If you scan that part of your finger and that part of your finger, or that part of your finger gets onto the scanner, it'll say it's not you. Your life should not be dependent on, you know, lining something up that perfectly and having the same amount of sweat that you had when you programmed it. And there's nothing wrong with being able to share a gun. Imagine you got somebody visiting your house who is a safe, sane, reliable friend, and somebody attacks. It might be a good thing if you don't have a smart gun that only you can shoot, so that your friend, who didn't bring a gun with him but knows about guns, can shoot back at the dangerous, violent people attacking you with... Okay, I would have been dead several times over in my house with the way this thing is. Still waiting for this thing to start up. So, if you want those smart gun laws and you want every single gun to be forced by law to be a computer-controlled gun, you are forcing somebody else to wait this long to be able to defend themselves when there is a violent, dangerous criminal attacking them. Their blood is on your hands if those laws ever become a reality and somebody dies while they're waiting for their smart gun to reboot or boot up or unfreeze. Okay, something changed on the screen. Still waiting. Come on, computer. While we're waiting for this thing to start up, think back on times when computers have done fun stuff for you. When your computer froze up on you. Your computer smart gun might freeze up on you. If you force police to have a smart gun, the police officer responding to the call to your house might have his gun freeze up on you. But the criminal's illegal gun will not freeze up on him. They'll make guns that go bang. criminal gang who is intent on gang raping somebody, they will not freeze up like a computer-controlled gun could freeze up. I wonder what she's dreaming about. My son's bitch is dreaming. She does that sometimes. Okay. Maybe it'll start up this time. Okay, we got some movement. Man, I should have had a timer out and timed this. Okay. Now it's finally ready for me to put in my code. So that's how long you might be forcing somebody to wait for their gun to start up if you vote for corrupt politicians who are surrounded by armed bodyguards who are not affected by a law banning guns. If you vote for corrupt politicians who force every gun in the country to be computer controlled. They'll make exceptions for their bodyguards, though. The hypocrites always do. Alright, thank you for watching. You have a good day.